Hello, weirdos. I wasn't gonna film my face today, but this is just the best setup I have. I want to do tarot from the bed because I'm doing a tag, Tarot Throwback, by Mistress Ray, who started this tag. I love this. I've been feeling super nostalgic. I don't really know why. Um, anyway, the idea is tarot divination deprivation fun, and we're all about that stuff over here on YouTube, right? On TarotTube. The idea is that we only use the decks for a month, or I'm thinking 2 weeks. We'll see. Yes, that would be doggies licking themselves once you turn on the camera, right? Anyway, the tag is that you only use the decks that you would have been able to get. How do I say that? Until a certain year? Okay, so Mistress Ray did Tarot Throwback 2002 because 2002 was, I don't know, I guess an important year for her. And she's using decks that were out in 2002. Up until that point. So I'm thinking my year would be 1998 because I have the best memories being 10 years old. And I was an introverted kid. I am an introverted adult also. And I was a weird kid and I'm a weird adult also. Anyway, I remember that really being my year of exploring some tarot and related stuff. And that's young, but I was just playing around and I've been wanting to get back to that feeling. Not that I'm not enjoying my tarot practice, etc., as it is at the moment. No, I'm actually having a good time and I feel it's good and it's working and it's doing its thing, and I love also doing readings for other people. But yeah, it's just a nostalgia feel, you know? So this is really the tag for me. I am adapting this wonderful tag, in my opinion, to what I've tried to achieve in a sense with the Thoth deck that was gifted to me. I was trying to achieve that behind the scenes kind of thing on my own. And now I think this is a good way to share at least a little bit of that. Basically, what I really want to do is I want to use it and try to approach readings as I would have done back then as a 10-year-old. Maybe I'm gonna use the little white books because I wouldn't have money for large guidebooks, right? And also in the place where I grew up in that time, um, internet purchases just weren't a thing, and I bought everything locally, of course. And it's a small town in Holland. And I'm saying there wasn't a lot available, and I'm just kind of approaching it from what I remember was available to me and what I would have done. Obviously, my memory is a little fuzzy. I might actually switch between 10 years old, 12 years old, 15 years old. I know that's a pretty big gap, 5 years, but it was just my time, you know? I brought out all the little white books of the decks that I want to use just in case, although I have already looked through them and there are no spreads in them apart from the Celtic cross. So maybe I'm gonna actually have to try a Celtic cross again because obviously I would have given it a go, you know? Not exactly psyched about that, but last little bit of explanation. This is divination deprivation fun, and in my case I am using only the decks that I believe I could have had at that age in 1998. Because of course I could be getting into all my vintage decks. I have quite a few, but I want to go kind of like back in time, which is also why I'm on the bed, because I would have done tarot on the bed, either in the attic room that we had in our place, or in my own bedroom on my bed, or doing tarot on the floor. I don't think I was the sitting at a table kind of kid. So I want to get into that feeling. So damn, to finish the thought, this is hard. I want to get into the decks I could have had And I would have chosen, although there's one kind of wild card, I will not be using my crazy amazing vintage decks like Kazanlar. I don't believe this came out in 96. I don't believe I've had access to it. I don't believe any stores were selling the beautiful Thoth Greenie. You know, I don't believe those kind of things. Like I don't think Moroccan Fez was sold anywhere around. Basically, I am going for readily available but by now vintage decks that I wouldn't have been able to get from the internet, only local stores. That's it. I have 4 decks. It's always 4 decks with me, isn't it? I really also just like that number. 3, sure, but it doesn't feel finished enough. Okay, so the first one is one of those vintage decks that people want, and to me it's more of a collector's item, but this tag will make me use it. I chose the Blue Box Rider-Waite Smith as my first deck because it's the closest one that I have to the yellow box that I used to have. So the yellow box Rider-Waite Smith I no longer own. I sold it years ago to this eccentric fellow who bought it off of me online, and he picked it up for 6 or 7 euros and he took it with him to India. So my deck went there and went there before me. Anyway, if I ever make it there. Little White Book is only in English. You never know. I guess I could pretend I got it from some sort of, I don't know, garage sale or something. But it's just the plaid backs, and this is a blushing fool, but you know, I wouldn't have known this. As a kid, I had yellow box, very plasticized card, the font that's not pixies, and I really didn't like the way it looked. But at that age, these were the tarot cards for me, so it was just this was tarot, right? So that would be my first actual tarot deck, and it was my actual first tarot system, the Rider-Waite Smith. So I'll be using that. I know it might be boring to people because we're gonna go through, you know, some major systems here, but it's just what I would have had, and I would have devoured them, I'm pretty sure. The next one is a Thoth deck, which actually is a Dutch one. This one was gifted for me to me. I know I'm going to make an entire video on this for Patreon one of these days because I've been having just adventures with this deck, and it's special. It was gifted to me. I realized this is actually the only tarot deck that I received as a gift that I didn't specifically ask for. So it's my first real deck according to the myth of your tarot deck needs to be gifted to you, needs to be a gift. Anyway, oh yeah, so I forgot. When was this? I don't know, 72 or 80s? I don't even know anymore. This one from A.G. Mueller is from 96, and I know I would have had access to this in local shops. So also it's in Dutch, just like my first Rider-Waite Smith, and that makes sense. Um, Also, I have a little white book here, which, well, we'll see, because I don't actually use it. Then the third deck is, now we are starting to get into the pretty decks. My Tarot of a Moon Garden. I just did a reading with it. This is my inner child deck because this would have been my favorite deck as a kid. I just know. This was my aesthetic. I wanted to be closed off in that dream world. It had to be night, there had to be stars, there had to be the moon. It had to have magic and magical creatures, and it would be just my own world, and I would have, you know, made an entire world here. Let me close the window because this guy keeps talking. And I hate it when people talk. Okay, so I pulled the Hermit for today, which makes absolute sense because that was me today. Then also the Ace of Staffs, because I think being alone as an introvert, that's how I recharge, and that's where I get my good ideas and where I get the motivation also to do things. Also, getting into that mindset of being a kid and just trying to imagine what it would be like to see these cards for the first time, I would have tried to find meaning. I mean, it's not that I don't do that anymore, but it would be much more on the surface, meaning in every little thing that we see on the card, like this unicorn half hiding behind that tree, because in this deck the aces are called staffs, but they are trees rather. It shows that there's something that's concealed, something that's hidden. It's about finding what that is, isn't it? And looking beyond, because in the distance we see a very dreamy castle. And then there's more of that making the impossible possible or striving for the impossible. That's just this deck. There's something impossible, if you will, in every card. Also, I noticed the sun being just having more of a feminine face. And oh, well, I just looked it up. The moon in this deck being less feminine. So maybe this is one of those stories or systems or just teachings that see the moon as the cosmic father and the sun as the cosmic mother. I don't. I see it as the opposite, but it was just something I noticed that I don't think I ever seriously considered. Yeah, trying to get into the mindset of I don't know what these cards mean and I'm trying to find my own meaning. Let's see what comes out of this silly experiment. And then I got the Knight of Staffs, which is really about going full force, isn't it? I don't remember ever seeing Tarot of a Moon Garden in stores at that age. Maybe it wasn't in Holland yet, I don't know. Maybe at the time they first made sure the decks would be translated, you know. Anyway, I have it here and I'm allowed to use it because it was published in 93. And this would have been my absolute #1 favorite deck at that age. Okay, the fourth one I am being a little bit lenient because it's Crow's Magic. And first of all, no way, no way that I would have picked up this deck as a 10 to 15-year-old. I also think I would not have picked this up 5 years ago. So my tastes, I don't think my taste really changed all that much. It's more the sense of adventure and just trying things out and feeling what I need to work with. Because this is just, you know, it looks like the first internet pages. It's a mess, this collage, digital collage. Crow's Magic Tarot by Lana Marks. I love this deck though, and it came out in 98, so it would be my most recent deck. Now the reason I allow myself this deck, this is still within the time area thing. I allow myself this deck because this is a dedicated deck to a deity of mine, or deity. And again, with the nostalgia feel, I feel I just need to work with this baby, and you know, it's within the rules, so why not? Yeah. I also took out the little white book again. I really don't like these meanings, but guess I'll have to try Celtic Cross. It's been years. It's been years. Uh, the funny thing is that I noticed from pretty much all of these little white books is that present position, immediate influence, goal or destiny, distant past foundation, and then future influence. The past, I don't understand. The past is always, or maybe I never noticed, or I remembered um, not right. I don't know. English, whatever, guys, you know what I mean. The past is always on the right side, and the future is on the left side, which is completely opposite of how I usually read. I read like a sentence, the way that we read in the Western world, from left to right. So left being the past, and then right being the future, because that's where we tend to go. And I didn't expect that. I don't know. It was just a funny thing that I noticed. Let me know how you do your Celtic cross if you still do that, and how you do your past, present, future stuff, even though that's really not my style of reading, but uh definitely gonna give it a go, because I would have done that as a kid. This is the box. I already showed it. I also have the box of the Terra Moon Garden somewhere. It's the actual old one. So these are actual old decks that I could have found probably. It's the old one with the magician, Merlin looking magician on the tuck box. This one, of course, regular old Crowley box. Do I even have the box? I don't know. Yeah, and this one just a fancy yellow box. Also, I've actually been waiting to do this video, but I couldn't wait any longer. This was the moment. You people who make videos, you know what it feels like. I've been waiting to receive. Okay, so it's finally I know what it is. It's Italian Scopa playing cards, or Scopa. Uh, just regular old playing cards, but they look super mystical, and this tag made me order these cards. So the thing is, I didn't get a vintage version. I got a very cheap version that was made 2 years ago, but those look more like the cards I remember having as a 10-year-old kid in a tiny place in Holland. I was playing with those very magical, mysterious looking playing cards that we got, I don't know, on a boat somewhere, probably from Marseille or Toulon or Nice to Corsica, or the way back, who knows. But it's Italian ships, I think. Yeah, Italian companies. So I think maybe my brother and I were bored, and my parents just got those cards, and we couldn't play with them because it was like nothing we've ever seen. That's just my theory. I don't remember this stuff. Just my theory on how we would have acquired Italian playing cards. But we got them home, and I played with them in the attic by myself, and I pretended to read tarot. I remember pulling out this A4 white paper, and I vividly remember having this blue filzstift and writing down the possible meanings that I came up with for these cards. And I remember shuffling, playing, and trying to make sense of these little cards, thinking they were magic. I recently found out they actually are used like any deck of cards for divination sometimes. Then of course there's also the games. But I numbered the cards with that blue pen, and I remembered it looked bad, and so I threw the cards away. I wish I hadn't, because that was my first tarot experience. It was before I ever got a tarot deck. So it was just a kid playing, but I mean, I kind of love that story, and I remembered it just years later. I remembered this after I already knew tarot for real, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. Just fun, I guess. I want to get back into that mindset, into probably with those cards. Of course, now I can find on websites what the usual meanings of the Scopa cards are in divination or in card reading, cardomancy. And I think I will reference them a bit, but then also I'm definitely going to try to make my own meanings just to see what I get from them. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. So I'm still waiting for that deck. It should have arrived probably. It's part of this experiment. So this is supposed to be a 90s yellow box, but it's Rider-Waite-Smith, plaid back. This is very possible that somebody would have gifted this. Yeah, so Thoth from 96, Dutch one. Tarot of a Moon Garden from 93. Definitely would have been my absolute favorite deck, just the colors and the theme and everything. Crow's Magic, I know I would have hated it as a child, but it's 1998 and I love it now. And so I can work with that special power energy. And then there's the deck that I don't have in my hands yet, but I will unbox with you. I actually can't wait. I hope they are good. It's the Scopa cards, so Italian playing cards. I looked online and I tried to get the version that I had as a kid. It might not turn out pretty, but I looked at the backs and at the that it's not Del Negro cards, that it's actually Moriano playing cards, because I remember that more than the other company. I mean, I really did try to replicate what I had at that age. And I guess the readings, the actual readings, are gonna start once I have that deck. So we'll see if I last a full month. I don't know. But all I can say is I love it. It's gonna get really busy over here real soon, so we'll see how I do with the divination deprivation because I have been loving working with other decks in my collection, but I will try to stick to these. Also, just a little side note, I'm not going to get up and get it, but I've been reading with the Centennial for readings at the store, tarot readings that I do at the store in Haarlem. Maybe for this challenge, I'm bringing back in the first Dutch Rider-Waite-Smith that I colored in. Here's the link, because that's an actual vintage one and it would have been out in 98. It doesn't fan out at all, but last time I only brought my Centennial, and honestly, I kind of missed something else. So that is my tarot throwback tag. I'm actually doing 1998. How about I pull one card from every deck for this challenge? Just real quick. See what we get. Not even really going to interpret them, just to see what kind of energy we can expect from these decks. There's the Knight of Wands again. There's just so much fire, isn't there? So I'm seeing here quick fiery readings, no beating around the bush, really going straight for the goal. Yeah. Oh yeah, also, when reading for myself with this Dutch Thoth, I've been leaving in the Universal Hexagram card because as a kid, that's definitely what I would have done. I would have seen that as one of the tarot cards and I would have come up with my own meaning, which actually I have done. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have taken out any card that has the same card back unless it's really blank. There it is. Okay, we've had a bit of a rough ride, this deck and I, but we're patching things up, aren't we? Oh, the Princess of Swords. Are we patching things up? This again, it's not fiery, but it's very defensive almost. Although she's beautiful. I mean, I really do like her, but there's a lot of defensiveness there. It's just about understanding what needs to be done, right? So it's about setting your ego aside. We get that so much with Thoth. And starting over almost. Because the princess is so green. It is about success to me, but also it's the first step. So, what to expect from you, Tarot of a Moon Garden? Four of Swords. All right. Well, this is more of a calming experience then. Finding the stability and the ground and just the overall friendliness of life in thought and imagination. Maybe it's good to do them in order. Like, here we have two, well, no, knights. So we have a knight in armor, here we have a princess in armor, and here we actually have the Four of Swords with a helmet that has been laid there in the grass to take a break, to rest. So maybe once this deck comes along, the fight is over. Hoping. Okay, Crow's Magic. So this is still just a tarot deck for me, but also I can ask, what are you going to tell me this month or these coming weeks? Three of Coins. I don't know why I don't like this card, but it's good. It's energy, it's growth. What energy? I meant to say earth. That's weird. Okay, yes, it's energy. It's creative energy in this case. And a type of standing up for yourself transformation, imagination and ability. Yeah. So I also see a lot of making my own meanings here, letting the intuition really flow. That makes sense because this is an intuitive deck for me. At the same time, that's good to see. After all of those swords and fire, it's good to see, although the princess is earth, but doesn't really feel that earthy, does she? Except that I'm rambling now, except that she is, I love that about the princesses. She's near an altar, and she's protecting that altar. Anyway, earth is good because it's grounding, it's getting back to the body, bringing things down towards oneself, from the above to your earthly vessel, to your earthly self. That's good. That's what I want to do. Just the good and positive things. Okay, so we have somewhat of an idea of how these four decks are going to read. As I said, the Scopa cards, not a tarot deck, but at 10 years old, sure looked like a tarot deck to me. So yeah, it's going to be added soon, and I'll share that with you once they come in. I hope they come in tomorrow. So yeah, I'll let you know. It is tomorrow, and they have not come in. It's evening now, although it's still light out, but I just did a ballet class in Amsterdam. Finally, I found the energy again after being sick for 3 weeks straight, actually a little bit longer. I did cough a lot in class today though, but I think what set it off was the incense that I used for a working earlier today. I will be careful with that because it's not what I want. Anyway, I want to do something. I want to use my four tarot decks in one reading. I want to pull one card from each deck because something significant to me happened in this class. First of all, it's a teacher that I didn't know yet, great Vaganova Russian style ballet, and a lot of people in class. We were 18 taking the class, so that's pretty significant. So much fun, very much technique based, but also a lot of moving free and just enjoying the dance, you know. So we have a live pianist in class. It's all good times. The thing that happened was I tend to go throughout the year because usually I take a class every week. That's not a lot. It's nothing compared to what I used to do, of course. But now, I am a teacher, no longer performing artist. So one class a week, 1.5 hours. But then I go full out. I sweat like crazy. You know what I mean? I'm a hard worker. Usually when I take a class, I'm I'm tired, I am insecure, although that switches throughout the class, but it happens so often that even though I'm doing good, I tend to do pretty good because I have a good base, my mindset is very negative. I think just before starting a pirouette, like we have 2 seconds to get ready. A pirouette would be one of those fancy turns that we do, a pirouette actually, because it's French, right? Right before I do that, I think I'm not doing good today. I'm not on my leg. I can't find my balance. My turnout is all wrong. I'm gonna fail. I'm not gonna make this pirouette. And then before you know it, you have to do it. And with that mindset, of course, you're not right in the body. You're not prepared because you have to know what you're doing, and then the body listens, the body follows. Of course, there's just the years and years of training that I will never lose, even though I'm not in training anymore. But it's the body knows how to do these movements. Although, of course, some days we aren't on the legs, some days we don't, we're not standing straight. All of those things, they count. But I tend to, you can imagine, obviously, with that negative mindset, I tend to not do so well, not do the best I can do. And it's not like I push myself to be the best every time because that moment is behind me. um, I just want to have fun, but I also want to do something, do it well, do it as at least the best I can that day. And today, I haven't taken a class all summer, and I was super positive. I don't know where that came from. The thing is, right before right before the turn, tombé pas de bourrée, fourth position, just before the pirouettes, my mindset was very positive. I thought to myself, okay, here we go. 1 pirouette, 2 pirouettes, maybe try 3 and we'll see. And I did really well. I didn't fall once. I made all the, what's that? Like sometimes we have a little stop. Sometimes we try to correct something in the last minute and it doesn't look as fluidly. We dance, 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 and then right before the hard thing, the difficult thing, we stop being artists and start being gymnasts or sports people and do a little correction before doing the cool step, right? Like the turns. And I didn't need to do that. I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go in the mindset. Okay, I'm gonna do my step. My tombe pas de bris. This is gonna be really interesting for people who don't like dancing. But tombe pas de bris, fourth position, immediately, feet placed well, shoulders aligned, everything in the right place, and there you go. I don't even do 3 pirouettes anymore. Just 2 is good enough. But what I'm saying, that positive mindset really saved me every single time, and I did better than I usually do. Long story short, sorry about that. I just hardly ever talk about this stuff, do I? I was kind of happy with that and proud of myself, not necessarily because I did better or achieved something. It's just because I realized it works. The mindset, it works, and it came naturally, that positive thing. It's not like I was aware I was doing this. It's just in hindsight, I figured I'm gonna have to keep this up because this is so much better for me. And if it works for the body, right? If it works in class, then this energy also must work in other areas of life, which we all know, but for the people who have a mind like mine, I don't know how else to say that, with similar minds, it's not a given. Negativity tends to creep in, and that's like a default setting. So, my simple question is, but we'll see how simple the answers are. My simple question is, how can I keep up this positive mindset? It's as simple as that. And I'm talking everything. Overall work, I'm talking just overall relationships, anything. So, how can I keep this positive mindset? I got this card this morning, the Nine of Coins. Um, this actually, artwork wise, image wise, is my least favorite card in the Thoth. Although, being so naturally positive today, I know I say that word so many times, take a shot every time I say positive. Anyway, positive. I'm really warming up quickly to this card because I do see the abundance, I do see the beauty, I do see. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. I think so, but to me, these look like, farmed land, which is very abundant and things grow there. And this is after hard work. It's about celebrating what you've done. And nine, I still link that to the hermit because that's the numerology I learned. It's about you, right? You're the one who made this happen. Of course, there's support from other sources, but but it's mostly you. You're the one who did it, so you celebrate you. So, well, loving that. Let's shuffle the Rider-Waite. Sorry, Rider-Waite Smith. How do I keep up this positive mindset? Wow, okay, that's another side of the story, the Five of Pentacles. And this is, of course, a very unlucky card. So I was prepared to pull negative cards or, darker looking cards. But this is all about transition and staying open to warmth and help from outside, even when I'm not feeling it, and even when I'm back down, when I'm back feeling negative and maybe even in a sort of spiral kind of thing, because that just happens sometimes, especially when we're tired throughout the year and cold throughout the year. There are still things I can get positive energy from, that I can get a certain certainty from, and a power and a support. So it's about trust. It's about trust. Even in a low point, not even the lowest point, but just a low point, and maybe we're not feeling it so much, the heart turns a little cold, the body turns a little stiff, perhaps, I don't know. Talking maybe sickness or injury. I don't usually read this way. This is an intuition going a little wild, but even then, there's still that transition that's happening. So it's actually still a good thing because it's part of the process. It reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes we're underneath, sometimes we're on top. And when we're on top, we're happy, but we know within X amount of time we'll be down again. And when we're down, we're not happy, but we know in X amount of time we'll be on top again. So it's just the cycle. Trust that cycle, I'd say, and trust also the transitions. And it's about embracing the less fortunate times because they are part of the whole, part of the process. I feel like using Tarot of a Moon Garden now. How can I keep that positive mindset? The Magician. Keep practicing, keep finding power in mysterious places. Very individual, making the impossible happen anyway. Break the rules and make your own. And this is about growth and transformation and bringing in what I want to bring in. Believe in that power. This is a very personal way of reading this card. It's about making the connections between the above and the below. And I'm that tree with the branches and the roots and the tree trunk, just breathing through it all. And like, just use your talents. Okay, okay. I like that. I really like this major arcana in this deck. It's the magician, but it's this old wise Merlin Gandalf kind of guy. A wizard. And then finally, Crow's Magic. If you're not done with this yet, because it's at this point it's just a not a practice reading, but a reading, personal reading that I share with you. So, how can I keep this positive mindset? Queen of Swords. Ooh. Elusive and mythical. Queen of Swords. This is this a phoenix? I know it's one of those impossible birds. And she actually has a type of seal, I think, with her sword. This Queen of Swords knows sacrifice, but also knows her own ways, right? So this is about doing things my way because I know it works for me, and I don't need to put energy into explaining that to other people. It looks to me like this adventure surrounding a more high vibration, positive mindset. I was expecting Nine of Swords, just saying, but positive mindset for myself and actually seeing that it's gonna work, you know? And I don't want it to drain me. I want it to feed me. So I have to be able to keep that energy moving and rolling almost. I don't want to just take and keep for myself. And I don't want to drain myself by putting energy into it and not getting enough back. I often feel that way. I feel I get tired quickly. I take a long time to recuperate. Also, to be fair, I do a lot throughout the year and I'm taking on more work, but it's work that I love. So I think because the heart is there of the queen, which is always water, and she understands the suit. She understands the suit of swords. She understands what is necessary, what is the harder decisions that need to be made, and maybe even the more fixated focal points to go for, the goals. She understands what is necessary for that, and she understands where that way of doing things, where that came from, because it came from love and caring for. I have to know the why. I, we tend to lose ourselves in everyday things, in the rhythm of everyday life, in the goals that we set for ourselves, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing that we have to achieve to perfection. I guess I am a bit of a perfectionist that won't all of a sudden be gone after being a professional dancer. But also, you guys know you're here with me. You know, I actively search things to do where I feel I don't have to be the best. The things I have in mind, just everyday things, the things I don't like and the things I really love, and everything in between. I want to approach them with a sense of gratitude. I want to be grateful to be able to do them. And this is actually it, it's fresh in my mind because I was reading the Essential Zohar this morning in bed, and there's a passage about that. There's a passage about that um, of the way you are close to God or close to fill in the blank, whatever you believe in, is to know that everything in your life is a gift, is a blessing. So be grateful for the shit that's happening. Be grateful for the harder times, not just because they'll get better, but also because that's the the sign that you're here, that you're alive, and that you matter. And it's about finding that strength and motivation and reason, most of all, reason, to make things better and to make things happen for yourself. So there's a lot here. Queen of Swords. Also, I think just doing things my own way and being a little bit stubborn and not caring about what others see, because I have a vision and a very clear goal, that will provide me with a lot of freedom. And this bird being blue, I also see that as spiritual growth. So I expect great things. Wow, that was a lot, and that was it for today. And oh yeah, by the way, the Scopa cards, so I know Scopa is the game, but it's actually Italian playing cards or Napolitane playing cards, have not arrived yet. So that's why I used the 4 decks. Hopefully the next part of this tag, because I'll make several videos, will be unboxing those Scopa cards, because I really can't wait. I'm a little kid again, which is the whole goal, right? Thanks for being here, and yeah, I'll see you next time or in the next part. Bye.